Hello and welcome to Business Live. Here's what's coming up. Germany sets out new conditions for visas to Ghanaian and African travelers as the Federal Republic battles with COVID-19 variant.
The only circumstances when you can travel to Germany right now is when you have a medical emergency, when you're studying in Germany and the trip and your presence in Germany is indispensable, or if you have very close family links to Germany. Unfortunately, that's the situation right now.
Ghana Statistical Service increases resources for geospatial materials ahead of the national population census. Plus, she is the last woman and the first African standing for the position of the Director General of the World Trade Organization. But what does Nigeria's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala's appointment mean for Africa? We shall be having an extensive interview on this new development. Hello once again, you're welcome to the program. We have all these and more coming up shortly after this break. You stay. Hello and welcome. All Ghanaians seeking visas to the Federal Republic of Germany will be accepted on 3 grounds. If it is a health emergency, if they are schooling there or have family relations in Germany. This decision was taken effective February this year as part of austere measures to contain the spread of the South African variant of COVID-19 in Germany. Christoph Retzlaff is the German ambassador to Ghana and spoke exclusively to Joy Business.
Just a couple of days ago, we have stopped all travel from so-called high-risk countries around the world. High-risk countries, I think we have 7 right now. Among them are, for instance, South Africa because of the mutation, Brazil, but also countries like Portugal, Ireland and the United Kingdom. Ghana is not among these countries so far. But having said that, I must add that normal tourist visa, Schengen visa for Europe, the European Union or Germany are not issued at the moment. So tourist travel and non-essential travel to Germany for the moment is not possible. The only circumstances when you can travel to Germany right now is when you have a medical emergency, when you're studying in Germany and the trip and your presence in Germany is indispensable, or if you have very close family links to Germany. Unfortunately, that's the situation right now, like in most other European countries too.
You cited South Africa, the new variants there. We have discovered a similar thing here in Ghana. Could that change your directive moving forward?
It could change. I can't give you a prognosis on that, but we are following the numbers very closely and we update our capital on a weekly basis, so this might change, but I can't predict at the moment.
The full interview with Ambassador Retzlaff will shortly. You may want to stay glued to Joy Business for that. Let's move on to other stories where Ghana must reconsider the need for a liberal economic market that is less intrusive of government intervention if entrepreneurs are given the space to thrive and remain competitive in the Continental Free Trade Agreement area. That's according to a young CEO under 35, Vincent Jokoto. Let's hear a part of an exclusive interview he granted me.
I've always favored a system where there'll be minimum interference in our free market. Unfortunately, when it comes to the situation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, there has to be a lot of cohesion as far as the government and the entrepreneurship culture or the stakeholders in our free market are concerned.
You feel there isn't much cohesion?
Well, not quite. I think we have to fundamentally agree on the vision for the African Continental Free Trade Agreements. Ghana is blessed to have this initiative being headquartered in our capital. Now, the way I look at it personally, it's a fine and rare once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create a situation where we can service and provide goods in other African countries. It gives us access to their free markets. Now, I believe we lead, in terms of technology, academia, and in arts and culture. And it's a perfect time for other republics to be dependent on our goods and services. So our export-based sector is going to be much, more lively, in that sense. So the vision is to develop an economic sphere of influence. We can't do that as a republic. Africa never really signed up for the idea of a democracy based on the fact that we earned our independence in 1957. We were able to create a domino effect that led to, I guess, the collapse of colonialism, perhaps not neocolonialism, but colonialism as it's known, right? So we opened doors for the political development. Now that also came with the Africanization of our free market. It's been about 60-something years, and now we have this fine opportunity to actually take control of our free markets as a continent, and I believe that we're in a very fine position to lead that transition. If not, we're only going to be in a situation where we're going to have a lot of multinationals trickling in, we're going to have a lot of other businesses coming in, which I'm not exactly opposed to, but philosophically, I believe we need a strong indigenous economy. Now, politically, we can't say we're going to ban importations on some products. We can't say we're going to raise tariffs too high. So then what can we do to make our market more competitive? Lower taxes. That's essential, right? And if we are able to improve our revenue mobilization, and it should only go to the modernization of our public service, but fundamentally, we've got to lower taxes. We've got to improve the quality of our products. We've got to integrate the informal sector. If not, we wouldn't be competitive.
And we shall have more on Mr. Jogoto later in the subsequent bulletins. Well, to another developing story, the path has been cleared for Nigeria's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala to become the first woman and the first African to lead the World Trade Organization after South Korea's candidate pulled out of the race for the job. Okonjo-Iweala, an economist and former finance minister of Nigeria, already enjoyed broad support from WTO members, including the European Union, China, Japan, and Australia. However, the United States under the Trump administration had favored complicating the decision-making process since the selection of a new leader requires all WTO members to agree. Okonjo-Iweala's formal selection may have to wait until after the United States appoints a new trade representative. Of course, Okonjo-Iweala spent 25 years at the World Bank as a development economist, rising to the position of managing director. She also chaired the board of Gavi, which is helping to distribute coronavirus vaccines globally, stepping down at the end of her term in December. This is big. Already we're having several African economists and leaders congratulate the economist, Okonjo-Iweala, on this new feat in her strides to become the next Director General of the World Trade Organization. But let's now bring in Frank Ejekum, the Executive Secretary of the Ghana International Trade Commission, for more on this developing story. Frank, we're grateful that you joined us. It's now official. We've heard it on various international news media that she made it. What will be the prospects for Africa?
A pleasure to be on your program once again. Yes, it is good development for Africa. If for nothing at all, it does increase the prestige of Africa to have an African at such a high-level position as the WTO Director General, which is good. You do realize that our own Alan Chemartin tried some time ago, but we couldn't make it for various reasons. So in Konjo's eventual assumption of that high office is good. And also because she has indicated her desire to stick to multilateralism, in which areas, for instance, he believes that Africa under the Africa Continental Free Trade could also benefit. And she's talking about the need to make the WTO a truly multilateral organization that will benefit the whole of humankind, where the rules and regulations and the laws of the organization are bring up to speed in terms of modern trends. You do realize, for instance, there is a lot going on in terms of e-finance in the world, but we don't seem to have. She believes that the WTO regulations are not up to speed in that respect, and it is because she believes that unless all the organization itself has its laws modernized and enables all others to come on board, it may not be as effective as she thinks it is. Also, she's talked against pluralism, where a group of nations are able to benefit more from the regulations and rules of the organization because they are more ready to take advantage of the institutions that it provides, while others are not. He doesn't think this provides an even playing field for everybody, and he thinks that those things should be looked at so that all nations who are signed up to the WTO agreement benefit equally from it. So it's good news for us, and it's something that all Africa should be proud of.
But yet again, we cannot, place all our eggs in one basket. Definitely, she wouldn't be serving the interest of Africa exclusively. She is the World Trade Organization's Director General, for God's sake, others could argue. So how then can she position herself in a much more strategic way to better the interests of African trade?
Yes, certainly. She's not talking in terms of only benefiting Africa, but the WTO is there to serve all nations. And if we talk about liberalism in trade and economy on the wealth front, it should be inclusive of all nations. So where you have institutions that have been structured in such a way that some parts of the world are benefiting more from others.
You were positioning the potential of Dr. Ngozi Iweala when it comes to African prospects, investment, and whatnot.
Yes, so that's right. So I was saying that she's trying to bring the WTO regulations in line to such a point where all nations can benefit from it, because as we do have it now, some nations are ahead of others, and that also creates a great playing field for everybody. But that also means that for countries like Africa who are missing out on the big scale, on the bigger issues, would also have on our own to up our game in terms of our skills development, e-commerce, e-finance, and all those things, because the future really is in there. If we don't do that, the multilateral aspirations of the World Trade Organization cannot be met. And you have a situation of polylateralism where a few nations who are ready and prepared and up to speed group up to then take the benefit of the organization to the exclusion for others.
Interview that she granted Bloomberg just about some few months ago regarding the concern of where she's coming from, Nigeria, the stark developmental challenges there as against where she's headed, the WTO, where so much development and so much leading countries, being member states, having to rule when it comes to development and trade partnerships. There is a huge mismatch here. How does she bridge this particular gap going forward?
Well, so, I mean, the advantage Africa has is the future, that we have a young population that is could be a good advantage for us in the future. But how do we make use of the future? Unless, of course, the youth is up to speed in terms of the skills, capacity development, and we are able to match, as you say, the developed countries who have already gone ahead of us. And that part specifically is a problem and the issues Mrs. Okonla is trying to resolve. How do you bring an organization that will be in tune with the modern times and yet be able to serve the purposes of all? She has talked about the need to try and link up or seek greater cooperation between the WTO, which is a regulatory organization, and some of the funding institutions, such as the World Bank, where she worked for many years, IMF, and etc., who are then able to collaborate in such a manner that we are able to impact and benefit from the finances that accrue from these other organizations that can help developing countries such as Africa to come up to speed in terms of capacity building and logistical upgrade, so we are able to benefit from some of these very good ideas and very good strategies that are on the international scene. And she is very well placed to do it because of a long experience in the World Bank and in other international financial institutions. So coming at the helm of affairs of WTO, she's able to merge those experiences from the World Bank and from elsewhere, and also as a finance minister of Nigeria, who did so very well, so therefore understands the problem of Nigeria. And of course, the problem of Nigeria is the problem of much of Africa. Therefore, she's able to bring a wealth of experience together that is able to address some of these issues. So I think it's good for Africa, and we must be proud and happy that good times will come.
Well, Mr. Jakum, let's now end narrowing down to Ghana. In your initial submission, you made mention of Mr. Alan Kyerematen, the trade and the trade minister who once vied for this position way back some years ago. Now, as a Ghanaian economy, having to see a Nigerian economist take on this huge role, it dawns on us various challenges and various responsibilities as well. How do we position ourselves, especially when it's not just going to be about Ghana, nor Nigeria, nor the continental free trade? It will be about the global economy. How do we reposition ourselves to take advantage of her position at the WTO?
Well, I must say that one good vehicle we have in Africa is the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which seeks to bring together all of Africa in terms of trading and in terms of economy, so that we can, so to speak from the same hymn sheets.
All right.
So those are the regulations that are in place that Africa should try and strengthen. And I think that the AFTA has come at a very good time, where multilateralism seems, and from the American president's point of view also, we believe multilateralism will soon be taking the center stage again. So I believe we are in good speed. All we need to do is to implement the various protocols, the various agreements, the various agendas that we have on the Africa Free Trade Agreements, and then the whole of Africa will begin to benefit as much as we can. Yes, I know, and we should know that not all countries, even in Africa, will benefit on the same level, but at least we have made an attempt to ensure that we have one common policy that endures the benefits of our continent.
Mr. Franco Chikum, we're so grateful that he joined us. He is the Executive Secretary of the Ghana International Trade Commission. You're still watching Business Live with me, Charles Ayete. Let's take a short break. We're right back with more stories to stay. Hello and welcome. Now, as part of measures to improve upon the work of the 2020-2021 Housing and Population Census, the Ghana Statistical Service has increased resources for geospatial materials. This is to facilitate an effective demarcation of localities for easy identification. The government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobuna-Aining, told Joy Business that this is part of the many interventions provided to ensure that this year's housing census is not disrupted by the coronavirus.
Indeed, with the COVID-19 experience that we had as a global and national community, we are working with the benefit of time. So we've had the opportunity to review and improve on some of the interventions that we had earlier planned ahead of the census. So for instance, we've had more geospatial resources that is helping us validate the demarcation exercise that we did. Moving into the area of financial preparedness, prior to the COVID-19, as we indicated, the government had provided resources through a World Bank facility for the conduct of the 2021 population housing census. Indeed, with the onset of the COVID, it's introduced other elements of cost, i.e. the PPEs that are sent 5,000 field officers will be needing to ensure respondents that we are adhering fully to the COVID-19 protocols. That has led to a funding gap of $12.6 million US. We've already initiated discussions with the Ministry of Finance, and we are pretty optimistic that this funding gap will be covered.
Now, traders at the Kumasi Central Market are threatening a day's boycott of trading in protest of what they claim to be the relocation with adequate accommodation arrangement. The city authority has accused the traders of failing to move to designated areas to pave way for the second phase of the market redevelopment project. But these traders are unhappy with the planned demolition of structures without adequate alternative for them to trade. Here's more.
Red polythene sheets are tied around the roof of some shops. These are accompanied by a red marked arrow, suggesting the lane to be affected by the next demolition. Mamie Kia sells here. She was here when the markings were done.
82 weeks ago, and almost I bet done it. And one day arrow Nasa.
She says they pasted the signs but told us nothing. They say we should leave, but no allocation has been made.
Another lane in the market also has an extension of the red arrow marks. Antiama is the owner of the shop.
I haven't received anything. They just marked the stalls, but I received no information from them.
No answer. Between the first marking and this one are tabletop traders and those in stalls. All these traders claim they have had no communication on their relocation. Other traders to be affected by the relocation are trading close to the demarcated area.
Now all of a sudden, Mumaya baby ayeko. Now for Musimutuye, na mutuye akwayenfa. Crow from Jamuke, crow from Jamuye. A race course, Muye.
No market has been completed. Where then do they intend on taking us? I can't trade on the streets because I own a stall here.
Leadership of the traders have been holding meetings about this issue. They explain the city authorities are not treating them fairly.
We have met with them. We are waiting for their feedback. Unfortunately, it becomes dicey. We'll meet you today, we'll meet you tomorrow, we'll bring you feedback today, we'll bring you feedback tomorrow. We realize they are lying to us. We just need the authorities to come to our aid. We are Ghanaians. Kumasi is part of Ghana. It happens in other regions and they go quickly to respond.
Leadership of the traders have been going around the market mobilizing their members for a protest in the week ahead. General Secretary of the City Market Traders Union, Richard Buamateria, says they will embark on a day's sit-down strike.
Yes, I know the KM is going to lose their revenue, but then if it continues, if after that one, we give them a few days, we don't even be up to a week. If they don't do anything about it, we are going to go a whole week sit-down strike, and we are even prepared to do more afterwards if nothing is done about it.
Mr. Buamateria says they will only move if city authorities meet them with a favorable plan.
We have not been designated any place at all. We have the full staff sellers that the mayor told me himself that he has given them a place at the race course, so they will go there. But these are people who are in the midst of stores. If you are going to barricade those places, how do you expect those in the shops to also go about their business? We are not stopping him from anything. We are not allocating any stores to anybody who is in the shop.
The traders plan to continue their protest until city authorities pay heed to them. Prince Apia reporting.
Voices from the Kumasi Central Market ending Business Live with me, Charles. All right, we're grateful once again. Join us same time next week for more business stories. Good evening.